Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our board meeting. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have less than a full board tonight. Carl and Uda were excused, but we have a quorum, so we can still do business. Elena, would you like to sit up here since you're good? Okay, thank you. All right. Additions, deletions? Seeing none, I'd like motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the agenda, our heavy agenda is approved. Public comment on agenda items.
That's the budget?
No,
What's the agenda item?
the agenda item is the non-union wage adjustment.
It's basically budget.
No, it isn't. It's part of the budget, but it's not the budget.
Well,
So,
I think that's part. Hi, Kathy Walker, 26051 Thorpe Court. Yeah, I took a look at that budget real quickly, and, you know, I wish I would have had more time, but it affects 14 people from what I can see.
that's the non-union.
That's the non-union
Yeah.
people, and it's 50,000. And I don't know what you use in your budget for how long people are going to live. 15 years, 10 years, after retirement, I don't know. But playing with the numbers a little bit and the compounding, it seemed like that 50,000 turned into 900,000. I mean, of course, you can make it any number you want, depending on what you use. But it just seems like it's a lot of money. And since our liabilities are up from, 14-something million to 18.9 million, which is a pretty big jump in the pensions. Because that's what's killing us. I mean, let's face it, pensions are killing everybody. That's why they got rid of them in most places. So I'm just concerned that I know everybody wants a raise, and especially now in this economy, things have been rough. But I still find it hard to believe that we could compare ourselves to Ann Arbor and Troy and places like that. I mean, my best friend lives in Ann Arbor, and she's always telling me what things cost there versus how cheap they are here. So I kind of think that it seemed like a awfully generous CPI. And I'm concerned because, I plan on being here for a long time, hopefully, and I'm going to be the one paying for it. So I was just wondering how you came about with these numbers, and I know you can't give a raise to everybody every year, but it seems like we are. And unfortunately, I mean, and everybody wants a raise, and I understand that because times are tough, but looking down the road, it's going to be kind of costly to the public here, and I don't think the public's going to like that. So that's all.
Thank you, Kathy. And I believe when we get to the action item, we'll talk about that type of stuff. So hopefully that'll answer your question. Anyone else? All right. With that, no, there's not. Yeah, no. Consent agenda. David?
Excuse me. I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda 24-001, which consists of minutes of the March 21st, 2024 special meeting, minutes of the March 25th, 2024 regular meeting, minutes of the March 25th closed session, and check registers dated through March 28th, 2024.
Anybody second?
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda? Seeing none, we have a motion to approve consent agenda 24-001, which consists of the following: the minutes of the March 21st, 2024 special meeting, the minutes of the March 25th, 2024 regular meeting, minutes of the March 25th, 2024 closed session, and check register dated through March 28th, 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, consent agenda passed. Thank you. Just let me make my notes here. Okay. All right, which brings us to our action item. There's a motion. We have a motion that the Groseal Township Board hereby authorize adjustment to non-union employees' wages for the fiscal year 2024-2025 in accordance with the proposed non-union wage adjustment chart dated April 3rd, 2023.
Or,
Is that correct? April of 2023?
I'm sorry, April 3rd, 2024.
Okay, show that, Elena, it's April 3rd, 2024. And we have a support.
yes,
Any discussion on this? Questions from the board? If not, since Kathy asked the question, Derek, if you could just give us some highlights of how this was put together.
Yeah, I'll first address the wage adjustments for those not receiving market adjustments. The rate of adjustment for those non-union personnel is scheduled in this proposal at 2.5%. As is shown in the packet of information, that 2.5% is actually below the CPI rate of inflation for the Detroit area over the past year. So it's actually less than the inflationary component. In addition to that, it also is less than MERS utilizes in our actuarial assumptions. So MERS makes basically assumptions of what our wage progression will be on an annual basis, and then they factor our wage contributions on our wages towards our pension system based upon those assumptions. So if the actual amounts come in less than what the assumption amounts are, the actuarial assumption amounts are, then it actually ends up reducing our liabilities. So the percentage increases that are being proposed are actually below what MERS is used on an annual basis to come up with those assumptions. They're assuming 3.75% for salary increases, and we're below that, and also 2.5% on an inflationary component, which we're at. The 2.5% for non-union employees is comparable to our TPOAM employees, which are at 2.5%, and actually half a percent less from our POAM unit, which is our police officers union. There are a significant amount of background information provided for those market adjustments, which include comparables from Southeast Michigan area, from communities such as Trenton, Wyandotte, Woodhaven, Riverview, which are comparable in size to Groseal Township in their workforce and also their population. So comparables that are relevant were provided, as well as justification memo, which indicates the reasons behind the market adjustments that are being proposed for 4 different positions. So hopefully that addresses some of the questions. Also, one piece of information worth noting in our in our audit report dated March 31st, 2023, our salaries for 2023 that are factored into our pension system were $3.353 million. Looking back at 2019, we were at $3.402 million. So our actual salaries that factor into our pension contributions have gone down since 2019, not gone up. So a good piece of information to show that our salaries are overall not increasing. They've actually gone down since 2019 as it relates to our pension contributions.
And I think that's, and Kathy brought up, brings up a good point for the residents who are paying the taxes. But in fact, you do have to make increases. These increases really, we're still less than both our actuarial assumptions for our pensions and for our overall wages that we were paying, 3-4 years ago. So things are always going to fluctuate. Things are all, wages are going to go up. Probably at best you can hold them at bay, but you're not decreasing. They're not going down. And the same for benefits. Everything continues to increase, and if you're going to get employees or keep employees, you have to give them something. And I really don't believe that the township has, is not financially aware of what they're doing when they give these raises.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, retaining individuals, I think paying, market value. A lot of these adjustments, the 4 adjustments that are being provided for in this action item, really address some of those market conditions that exist. We're in a service industry. Everything we do here is service for the most part. So the quality of the staff that we have here, the professionalism, their qualifications, their education, their experience, we want to retain those that are good employees so that the service that we provide, which is our main product, is a good one. So I think it's important for recruitment and retention to make sure that these wages are competitive within the market in order to make sure that that talent is retained. So,
Thank you, Derek. Any other comments?
Jim,
Yes.
1 second.
Sure, Joe.
If I can just add, and Kathy, I get it. I get exactly what you're saying. And the board, I thank the board because they agreed to allow me and Derek to meet on this issue with the leadership and what he was saying about the retention program. There's a couple things that go into this. Now, I know previous to our township manager, and I always want to give credit where credit's due, but I want to draw that line to show when things happened. And the previous township manager, for some reason, didn't believe in doing evaluations. I don't know why. But the point is, we're doing them now. It's going to be scrutinized more. And I'm not in favor, and this is my opinion, and again, the board allowed me and Derek to do this. They voted on it, on certain changes. But I don't believe every year that somebody should just get a raise because it's my turn or because it's time to get a raise. There were certain things here about our retention program that Derek and I got together on and that we talked about previous in both areas. One area is the evaluations, and one area is the market adjustments to keeping people and good people within our township. But the point is, as we go on in the future, I promise you, if I'm still here, that I promise you that it's going to be scrutinized every year. It's not automatic. These had to be looked at in a certain way, and they were. But again, I want to thank the board for at least voting on some things that we changed. And Derek agreed with me that he believed that people need to be evaluated. And as we go down the future now, doesn't mean you're going to get it. And I know it's not a popular thing to say, but you're not going to get a raise because it's my turn or because it's, and I get that. But I understand where you're coming from, and I understand we've got to look at the pension liability, and it did go up. We can't deny the numbers. I get it. It did go up. So we have to create that balance here to keep the people. As you know, we have lost some employees, and I get it. Well, I have to do something. I can't just let it go. So anyway, I just want to, I want to thank the board for allowing and agreeing. And Derek and I, and this was been going on for, I don't know how long we've been.
at least 6 months, something like that.
At least 6 months. We've been, so I just want to tell you, I know it's not a perfect system, and I can't make that perfect system, but we can do it together and make it better.
Kath, you can at the public comment.
So, but anyway, that's, and again, maybe I'm sorry, Jim, that I was talking to him.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And hopefully when you and Derek get done with that is one of the problems that this township has had. There hasn't been any real program or process to do things like this. And some of what Joe had said about it's my turn and or we're just going to give everybody across the board a raise. That's what was happening. And that regardless of whether it should have been done or not, it's not. You don't do it without a process. You have to know what you're doing. And hopefully when you guys get done, there will be a much better process than what we have right now. It's something, I thank Joe for taking that on, because it's not something that you just do overnight. There's a lot that has to go into that to understand what those raises should be. So.
And I mentioned in the memo that was attached here, all of our performance evaluations were actually completed on the 3rd of April. So all these, do have performance evaluations that have been documented that support these adjustments. And I think the next step in that is, and something we've been trying to get to, and it is a heavy lift, but the salary ranges for these positions, what comes up in some of these performance evaluations is, well, what is the earning potential for these positions? What can I expect in the next 10 years? What is my salary range? So that's equally beneficial for the employee and the employer, for retention, for, expectations, for some sort of, measuring point, right?
And that should be there. I mean, that should be, that employee should know, hey, when I sign up to come to work here, I should know what's the future? When do I hit my ceiling? Is it in 5 years, 10 years? Now, okay, that's it, other than cost of living. They should know that, and we don't have that process yet, and hopefully we will. But like you say, that is a very difficult thing to put together. It takes a lot of time. And unfortunately, we just don't have it done yet. But
and especially the uniqueness of our organization, you see that a lot in smaller municipalities. Smaller being less than 50,000 residents. A lot of these responsibilities of these positions are varied, so they might wear multiple hats.
Right.
We have a community development director that's also a DDA director. You have a township manager who's also a DPS director. You have a clerk who's also communications and also does some of our IT stuff. So everybody wears a lot of different hats. So comparables are not, always perfect.
But
So,
and
yeah.
that's just it. You can't just go into some list and say, well, here's a town and here's a director, a manager's title, and they make X, so my manager should be making X. You can't do that. There's got to be more that goes into it because of what we do and what we have to do around here. So,
Just
Go ahead,
quickly,
Kyle.
Derek, the numbers you said, it was 3.35 million in 2019. You said, right? Is that right or no?
3.402527.
Oh, that's 2019. Gotcha.
In 2019.
And the reduction though from then till now is probably mostly head count, right? We have just less people.
Well, also we've had some retirements. So a lot of times when you have a retirement, the individual that's replacing that individual is at a lower salary.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
and that's the way it works.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
no,
it's
Yeah.
not because you cut salaries for people that are here. It is because people left. You hire new people at a lesser rate.
And you might say that those aren't sustainable because they eventually will go up, but these individuals that you are hiring now often have a much lower benefit package as compared to those that have recently retired. So, our pension benefits for new employees are about, I would say, just on rough numbers, half of what they were as a retiree 25 years ago. So, it is a sustainable, reduction in cost for that employee.
Yeah, there are things that balance out. And all that has to be looked at. You can't just look at numbers. Anything else? Seeing nothing, we have a motion. The Groseal Township Board hereby authorize adjustments to non-union employees' wages for the fiscal year 2024-2025 in accordance with the proposed non-union wage adjustment chart dated April 3rd, 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The action item is passed. Thank you. All right. Which brings us to you, Kathy. Public comment.
Something as simple, like, first of all, how long has the township had management? 50 years, 70 years, 90 years? Long time.
Long time.
And we don't have an annual review? That makes no sense to me. Most businesses, I don't care how long they've been around. And I know you wanted annual reviews for years. I know that when you were on the trustee. And the only annual review I remember was the guy that worked for me, and that was Pointed. But we should have annual reviews. We can't blame it on everybody else. This has been going on for way too long. It's embarrassing. And then you can't say, well, their turn, or we have to keep great people. Well, I remember, and this is my comment that I wanted to make, Lee Iacocca, which I'm sure most of you have heard of. Lee Iacocca said something years ago when they were trying to raise rates. He goes, we don't have good jobs for $17 an hour. We got them for $15. Take it or leave it, basically. And when you work for Groseal, you're not going to become a millionaire with your salary. You're not. And if you think you are, you're fooling yourself. And that you want to keep being competitive with Ann Arbor and Troy and Northville and places like that, we can't. It'll bankrupt this place. Because it's not today's rate, the 50,000, it's how many years they live, and a lot of people are retiring young, and that means we're going to be paying them for a long, long time, a lot longer than 15 years, and we don't get the actuarial benefit of people dying. I hate to say it, but that is a benefit. You know, when we lose people, it's like smokers. But it just makes no sense to me that we have not been addressing this for so many years. And a lot of people are still here. And to say that we have to have these great employees, there's lots of great employees that'll take a lot less money. You gotta find them. Sorry to be hard on it, but I keep thinking that 50,000 is going to turn into 900 grand, if not more. And I understand, that we're within line with the recommendations or underneath the recommendations of the certain actuarials. Well, a lot of actuarials are wrong. They come up with wrong numbers, come up with bad assumptions. We don't know what it's going to be. Hell, we didn't know we were going to have the inflation we had. But the bottom line is, we have to take control of the finances of this township, because if we don't, this is what's going to drive people away. It's not going to be the bridge. A lot of people I hear, the young people, they can't afford this place. A lot of these people can't. A lot of older people, it's not so bad. I mean, you can handle it. But a lot of people can't. And that's what's going to drive them off the island. And then the rest of us are going to be stuck paying this thing, which is annoying. But anyways, not to be hard, but that's my point. Thank you.
Thanks, Kath. Anyone else? I see no one. We'll move on. No. Move on. And Elena, do you have anything from the clerk's office?
Yes.
She just wanted to get to her report.
Partisan candidates seeking the office of supervisor, clerk, treasurer, or trustee can pick up a candidate packet in the township clerk's office. Candidates need nominating petitions with a minimum of 20 signatures, max of 50, or they may file a $100 fee in lieu of the nominating petition. The filing deadline is April 23rd at 4 p.m. May 7th, 2024 at 4 p.m. is the deadline for candidates for precinct delegate to file an affidavit of identity for the August primary. Filing is submitted to the county clerk in which the candidate resides.
That's it. Thank you, Elena. Treasurer's report.
Thank you. All 2023 Roseale property tax bills that were unpaid as of March 1st will now be collected by Wayne County. Wayne County will be sending out their delinquent tax letters in early June to request payment from property owners who have not yet paid their 2023 taxes. As always, you can pick up your 2024 dog tags, pet licenses from the cashier's window in Township Hall, and the cost for the pet tag is $12. And there will be no DPS commission meeting this month that was scheduled for tomorrow and has been postponed. The next meeting will be May 14th. And the Airport Commerce Park Commission will be meeting this month, April 15th at 6 p.m. And that's my report.
Thank you, sir. Jameson.
All right, good evening. The Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee will meet on the 18th of April. On the 23rd of April, the Zoning Board of Appeals will meet. In May, on the 18th, is the Roll Along the River. It's like a big bike event that goes from a park up near River Rouge and Wyandotte area down to Gibraltar, and part of the loop is through Gros Seal. So anybody interested in that, you should start seeing some advertisements on Facebook and some of the other local like media outlets for that event. It should be fun. Just a bunch of people riding bikes, having a good time, enjoying the weather. So, and that's 18 May, and that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Jameson. Hopefully the weather does cooperate.
Yeah, that's true.
Joe?
Good evening. The Police Commission meets third Tuesday of the month and in this meeting, I'm sorry, in this board room at 7 p.m. And also, we had a meeting, a special meeting last week, and what we're going to do, and I don't know, Jim or I guess maybe Derek, are we able to get a study session with the entire board?
It will be at our next meeting.
At our next, okay, thank you. The Police Commission has requested a study session on the upcoming renewal millage, and that will be, according to the supervisor, that'll be next meeting. So would that be just a half hour before?
That's
all we
what
need?
we're putting it
Yeah,
at,
that's
a half
it.
hour.
They don't need more than a half hour. So the whole board, the whole commission rather, will be meeting with the whole board, and we're going to explain what direction that the police commission believes we should be going in, even though this is just a renewal coming up. And that is it for tonight.
Thank you, Joe. Kyle?
Sure. I serve as a liaison to the Planning Commission, which meets on an as-needed basis. As of this moment, there is not a currently scheduled Planning Commission meeting, but there are a lot of things happening. So the master plan process has released its second survey for folks to make their views known. And another really good way to get involved is there's upcoming roundtables that the master plan process is inviting people to. They run from May 6th to, actually, they start on actually May 2nd. There are two workshops at, oh, there you go. Derek might help me out a little bit. There are two workshops at both Commerce Park and Water's Edge, one from 3:30 to 5:30. And the Water's Edge one from 6 to 8 p.m. So that's a good way to meet master plan folks in person, get to know them, get involved if you're interested. And then the following week, there's going to be virtual meetings from Monday, May 6th to Thursday, May 9th on economic growth, housing, open space and waterfronts, and mobility. So these are really good opportunities to get involved, to help frame Groseal's future, as it says there. There's going to be mailers going out to people. So really doing a lot of good work to reach out to folks, get as many viewpoints about how to set up our master plan for the next 20 years. So that was number one thing that I wanted to communicate. Another thing that I wanted to just speak to folks about is the Kiwanis will be having their island cleanup on April 20th. Folks are invited to meet at the VFW post. Oh, there you go. Derek's got me there too. I might be stealing thunder from others, but they asked me to speak on this. So that'll be there. I just really invite people to get involved. It's a good way to just start the spring, make sure everything's cleaned up around Groseal. I think about it a lot because I know things that we don't clean up often get blown into our rivers around us and affect wildlife around us. So again, just anything that folks can do, either through the Kiwanis that day or in other ways to help clean up our island, I think would be a very, very good thing. And I will leave it there for tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kyle. Derek?
Good evening. Just a couple quick items. Last meeting we had approved some work on Ferry Road, if you recall that action item. We are in the process right now of developing that list of additional roads that we're going to be working on, so look for that probably in May. We have a pre-construction meeting with the contractor that's going to be doing Ferry, so we want to go over these locations with them before we bring them to you to make sure that there aren't any issues with them working in those areas. But we've tried to do work, spread that work across a large part of the island, all the way from south to north, so hopefully everybody that needs it will realize some benefit on their street of work being done as far as asphalt resurfacing. So look for that probably in May for you. Two other quick items worth mentioning. These are events going on. Kyle had covered a couple. Island-wide garage sale is going to be Friday, May 17th and Saturday, May 18th. 9 to 4. Contact the Groseal Recreation Department for registration if you have something that you would like to sell at your home on that or both of those days. So flyer will be on our website referencing that. And then Dump the Junk, Find the Treasure, once again, April 27th from 9 to 4. The Rotary Club will also be sponsoring a shredding day. Their truck will be set up towards the DPW garage. They wanted it closer to the Dump the Junk event rather than here at Township Hall. I guess they had done it at Township Hall in the past, and they didn't realize they thought a lot of participation because of this location, so they want to be closer to the Dump the Trunk event. So we figured out a location for them to use down there that won't interfere with the Dump the Junk event, but you won't be able to miss it. It's going to be near the entrance to the DPW garage. So April 27th from 9 to 4. If you have anything that's on this list, feel free to attend. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
Can I add one
Sure,
one question? I'm
absolutely,
sorry
Joe.
to slow you down here a little bit. Derek, maybe you can add to this, but I wanted to ask you I got a lot of questions on the light at Ferry and Meridian. And when I just went down there, instead of calling you, I took a look at it. It's the same kind of light. It's an actuated light that we have at Chicory and Parkway, which means if a person is coming down Ferry, then it will change. If nobody's coming down Ferry, east or west, and is at the light, you'll still get the green light. It shouldn't slow you down. Now, the main thing I saw is they have the push button for the kids. Now, just if you can kind of just look at it this way, you send your children to Water's Edge in the summer and you believe they're safe, and they are. It's a very safe place, obviously, and we know why. But they got to cross right there, which is a little bit, I'm going to say dangerous because of the S-curve, because of the speed limit. And I'm not going to get into such detail, but if you look at feet per second that the cars are traveling to their rate that they can negotiate something in front of them and stop, it's really not a good corner. So we had this light put in with the push button. And remember, it's your kids biking in the summer, and you want them to go to Water's Edge or the Country Club, whatever they belong to, or even Macomb Street if you want to go to Macomb Street. And it just shows people were very nervous about that one area. And to tell you the truth, when I looked at it, it kind of made me nervous. It makes me feel better. We have something there. And I noticed it really doesn't slow the traffic down too much. Your east-west traffic will make the light actuate, which means it will turn. And it's very quick, and it seems to be, I have to say this, when we put that light in at Parkway and Chicory, we did have some issues. I mean, that's the way life is. It's technology. It wasn't the smoothest light in the world, and it had to be tweaked and fixed. This one seems to be running pretty good, Derek. Now, is there anything you want to add to this?
Yeah, just to clarify, that was a Wayne County project that did have the support of our bicycle and pedestrian committee. So not only did they, the county put that light, that actuated light in there, they also did some alignment with the intersection. They actually took some of that curve out of the road. They straightened it more so that there was a better line of sight. So that was a Wayne County initiated project, but it did have the support. And I think the encouragement of our bicycle and pedestrian traffic group, a lot of the reasons that the trustee had mentioned were the reasons they supported that project for safety, and it was a recognized point of potential concern. So that's all I have to add.
Well, I just thank them too, because anytime that we can make the kids safer, it's worth it. I mean, if it's going to slow you down just a hair, I'm sorry to tell you this, but if it's going to make your children and my children riding a bike to Water's Edge or to Macomb, or how about going the other way, even going north? They got to cross that street. So anyway, thank you. And I do thank the committee. And I guess this time is this Mr. Candrevas of Wayne County? I actually have to thank him for that. This time I will thank Dandy Andy. So, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, and if you've been stopped by that light, you know that Ferry Road, if the light is green for Ferry Road, it's very quick. You're not stopped for a long time on Meridian, and most of the time you're going through. So they worked the whole project out nicely. My report, no DDA meeting this month. It's been canceled, so you're going to have to wait till May to see us. I just wanted to follow up on the master plan and both the virtual meetings and the in-person meetings. I can't encourage the people enough to get involved. This is where you have your say as to what we're going to do on Grosse Ile in the future. So please take advantage of that. From our website, DDA's website, you just call us. We'll tell you when the meetings are. But it's your chance to have your say, so please take advantage of that. And that is all I have for tonight. So I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Like the eclipse, the